Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading session, TGIF. Woohoo! We'll see what the market gives us today. A rather substantial opening gap of sorts, actually. Yesterday's session plodded along. The market refusing to give up the rally. We closed somewhere around here, and now we're opening up here. This little bit right through here is going to look a little bit like an opening gap. We'll see whether or not. As you know, I've been a little bit bearish on the market of late. We'll see. Every time I think the stock indices cannot go higher, of course they end up going higher. It's okay to have an opinion about the market, of course, but you always need to balance that with what's truly going on your chart. Yeah, so we had a little bit of a overshoot go on here. Other than that, the market was fairly respectful of that channel. All right, at any rate, we'll see. Good morning, Jim. Jim says the advanced decline a little bit to the negative side, just about 1,000 buyers and 1,400 sellers, so that's about a negative 400. That's a little bit of a change from what we saw the other day when everything was a little bit more bullish. Crude oil, crude oil also a little bit on the bearish side at the moment. I wonder if we can still get in on this signal here. I don't want to rush into anything here. We just opened up the charts. So we had a green bar sell. The nice thing about this particular green bar sell is we don't have a test of the extreme yet, do we? So it looks like that's what we're going to get out of this move right here. I've also got my soybean chart open, and we just had a macro pullback signal here in soybeans. That would have been this one right back here, a few minutes after the market opened. So first macro cross, macro pullback, all coming together to actually produce a fairly decent signal there. We'll see the crude oil trade here. If it starts to head a little bit higher, that will give me a chance at a second push. But right now, I'm a little bit late on that one. I'm not going to chase the entry here. I'd rather get it near the hash mark. Jim says the NQ is the strongest of the stock indices. We'll see whether or not the E-mini and the Russell we'll drag it down a bit. We might get we're just getting the beginnings here of a soft edge sell on the Raptor. Now the soft edge sell we'd like to see preceded by a test of the extreme. Test of the extreme being one of these things, where you get the failure and then the market heading lower. It would produce a signal somewhere here around the soft edge. They may just be trying to bring in the last of the buyers, we'll see. Jim's giving me the play-by-play here. He says the DAX is trying to hold on to the trend line. Oh man. Why can't the market do what I think it's going to do? Here we're getting a late filter entry signal. I'm just going to throw a onesie on it. And we took a one tick slip on the entry there. I should have covered the trade perhaps a little bit deeper. Now these signals, this late filter entry signal, tends to be one of our higher probability signals, of course. What time is it? Oh, we're about 7 or 8 minutes into the session. I think I'm going to be ultra aggressive on that stop. Because, of course, this could be our test of the extreme now, right? If the market fails here, we've got the test of the extreme. We're going to see it head the other way. I will give it this little swing, to be fair. It is a late filter entry signal. Which, like I said, is a high probability signal for us. But I'm not going to give it any more than this little swing to sort itself out. The better entry, I suppose, in hindsight, should have been above the high. But here, too, it becomes a matter of logistics where I'm giving up, at least half of my profit objective just to try to get an entry. Of course, I suppose that's always better than a losing trade. All right, so here's the Raptor now with our sell signal. Okay, and it's just printed the sell signal. Turn those off for a second. Cover it just above there. So this is the soft edge cell that I was telling you about with the Raptor, where we've had our test of the extreme. We've produced a sell signal on the soft edge. We're anticipating it to move at least here to the hard edge. And of course, we've got two opposing signals right now. And we're getting an early trend change signal now in the Falcon. So if they fill that gap, let's see, where did they leave off yesterday? We should see a trade down here to about 46. I think what I'm going to do is disable my break-even trigger for the moment. Nice to know our crude oil signal was reliable. Our green bar sell. I was a little bit late getting to this one, but it seems to be working out pretty well for us. Also getting a first micro macro cross signal now. This one I probably would want to cover a little bit higher. And it looks like you got a chance for a second push on this entry also. No, doing a little retracing here. Maybe we'll try to put a runner in on this one too. Sorry, is that better? Suncom says, why is there no audio, Eric? It's because I was sitting on my mute button. Sorry about that. What I was saying is the first micro-macro cross signal here is now turning into a macro pullback type signal, maybe even a 4-arrow consolidation. Still bearish at the moment, even though we're having to sweat this trade a little bit. Waiting for the sellers to step up so I know where to roll my stops. Maybe we should be watching the YM. Suncom says the YM selling off a lot better. Where did I put my YM chart? There it is. Oh, the NASDAQ. They're killing me. Yeah, the YM here on the Raptor is already turned over on the band. We produced, I suppose you could consider this a double pullback, although the band was still relatively flat when that was producing. But we did get our first with trend signal. Also a little bit on the slow side still, but yeah, like Jim says, movement has been anemic, and I think that's the best word for it, anemic. Jim says we've got all new lows except with the NQ, of course. Well, it looks like the sellers are starting to dig in maybe a little bit. If we get a bar or two lower, then that will be a good spot to start to roll. Suncom is asking, did I take the NQ short? Yes, I did. Right here, they just dipped low enough to tag me, scoundrels. So now we're back here near the highs. The market pretty much range bound again for the most part. So the high of the day, the low of the day so far, you can see we're getting this channel type thing going on. We can get rid of that. Way to go, Lance. I should have Lance run in the room this morning. He's knocking it out of the park. He says, FYI, these indicators rock. He said, I have made more than I paid in just 2 days. That's fantastic, Lance. Way to go. Just took 250 off the Russell and 330 on the NQ and looking on a good trade in the YM. Way to go, Lance. Glad to hear it. Oh, come on, sellers. We got a little bit of heat here. So here's crude oil flip-flopping all over the place. Big rally down, equal rally up, equal rally down. Here we are again. We're producing a trend change signal very, very late, which I don't usually like to see, and it is away from the trading band, which is problematic. Let's see if I can cover it on a second push here. Can we get it? Oh, I can. I can only go in with a onesie. It is crude oil. And it didn't look like they slipped me, which is good. So we're going to take some heat here off of these lows. Is there anything else to tie it in with that? No, not yet. But we'll see whether or not the sellers are not serious about making a run at this low. Because look at what happened here, right? Big move lower. Buyers push it up. Sellers push them back down. So the buyers no doubt will try to push back, but at the moment the sellers do have control of this market, so we'll see whether or not they can do anything with that. Way to go, Ricardo. You guys are killing it today. Ricardo says, good morning, Eric. Another clean 20 ticks off the 8-tick hard edge bounce on the Raptor. Well done. Come on down, you darn NQ. Oh, I thought for sure we were going to see such a steady progression lower this morning. When I saw that opening gap, I thought, oh, this is a gimme today. Let's just get in there and start shorting. And then the buyers showed up. What's up with that? Oh, welcome to the wonderful world of trading. Ugh, I cannot believe that they've managed to press higher again. Okay, Jim needs the Raptor or the YM Raptor here. I've got what size is the cloud on this one? Okay, so this is the default 12 tick cloud. I've got a value of 18,005 on the hard edge. Oh, soft edge price, Jim says. We are looking about 17,990. Yeah, you guys are right. I'm going to have to start following the YM a little closer again because it's definitely behaving itself better. So our crude oil short working away. Did manage to plot a little bit lower. I wonder if I had taken it on the hash mark, would I be at my target yet? Yes, I would. Oh, we hit the break-even trigger and got tapped on break-even on that. Well, there's worse ways to exit a trade. Oh, come on, NQ, don't don't tell me the NQ is going to push to new highs. I can't stand it. Oh, they are too. I don't believe it. Yeah, like Jim says, wrong horse today. You got that right. Wow. Well, this is the hard part about trading. When you take a couple losers like this, it's hard sometimes not to start revenge trading. You know, just to start throwing in orders every which way. The market ticks up, so you buy. It ticks lower, you sell, and you start scrambling trying to get your trade back. If that's what you feel like doing, then you really need to push away from your computer and stop trading because it's only going to get worse. Yeah, like Jim says. The DAX just puked, the Russell has a double bottom, the E-mini has a higher low, the YM has a new low, and the NQ just skyrocketed. Go figure. to stay with this one a little bit. I'm still not convinced that I am wrong, but my wife will be the first to tell you that I'm stubborn. She spells stubborn S-T-U-P-I-D, by the way. Seems the days that I come into the market with a personal bias about what the market should do, those always tend up to be my worst days. Instead of just looking at the chart, because here was the first micro macro cross, right? Everybody saw it. I could not bring myself to take it. Well, I was short. I could not bring myself to take it. Here was the trend change signal to the upside, although it's laboring a little bit now. Well, I guess we all have our moments, and this might not be mine. All right, you stinkers, scoundrels. Yeah, I'm thinking Mark here has the right idea too. This is yesterday. Here, let's go back here to yesterday's session. Remember how we were watching the NQ and we were saying how the best thing to do was perhaps just bracket the ranges? That's what Mark is saying too. He's saying, I've been on the wrong side more often than not this week. I'm sidelining it today. Time to regroup. And like Forrest Gump said, Mama said, there would be days like this. Mark says, best to bracket the ranges, and I think you're right. Just let the market establish its range, set your buy and sell order above and below, and go with that. You might have to wait a little bit. Definitely, we have the bottom end of the range right here, right? I think that's a given. That's a given that this is the bottom end of the range. The top end of the range, I don't know if we've seen it just yet. Of course, if we get the NQ dipping a little bit here, then the top end of the range right up there, no question. But this is, here I'll show you on the Falcon because the Raptor's hopping around a little bit. This was not fair. We had a test of the extreme. We had an early trend change signal. Actually, I was probably too late on that. Yeah, I should have taken that on target. We had an early trend change signal. There should have been more follow through. We should have seen the sellers. You see, they were trying right here and here, but it was too little too late. See these long tails on these bars? That's sellers trying to push the market lower. But like I said, too little too late, and then boop, up they go. Jim says the Russell is also very weak with a new low of the day, but not getting the follow through, at least not on the NQ, not yet anyway. Soybeans, let's take a look at the soybean market. Here's soybeans working on a first micro macro cross higher. In this market too, you can see we're getting these yellow bars, no real direction. This is an odd looking type market, but it is a first micro macro cross. I may not take it on the hash mark. I may let it bring me in above here. I'll try to cover it as deep as I can initially. I'm not going to let my stop stay down here. If we get filled here, there should be an opportunity somewhere to make that stop a little bit more palatable. Oh, I know a good way to make the NQ head lower. I'll just go in and buy it. It seems to be that kind of day. Just fade whatever you think you should do. All right, here they come again. Yeah, Jim says the advanced decline still stupid to the negative side. So the stock's falling off. All right, here's the Raptor. Another soft edge sell. Now this one, you know what the heck, we're in a trading room here. I can demo this for you. The soft edge sell, normally we like to see it preceded by a test of the extreme, as we did here. But sometimes even though this is technically a higher high, it can also be viewed as a test of the extreme. So normally our test of the extreme looks like this, where it's lower and then it fails, right? But sometimes the test of the extreme can actually be like this, and then we get the failure. How is that, you say? How can that be a test of the extreme? Well, consider what's happening here. This is the extreme price. Think of price in this instance more as a neighborhood or a zone. If the market breaches this zone or this extreme price, what should happen? Well, the price should continue higher, right? Not necessarily that it's going to move in a straight line. It will have its little pullbacks and rallies and pullbacks and maybe even a little sideways consolidation of sorts. And then, oh, stop it. It's starting to annoy me. It's Friday. And then continue on its way. But what did we see happen here on the NQ? And again, maybe this is Eric looking through his bear glasses, and not my beer glasses, but my bear glasses. We saw the market breach and fail. So we don't really have that little test of the extreme yet that we prefer to see. But like I said, we're in a trading room. I am allowed certain luxuries. One of which I should suppose we should enable a stop. So you have your textbook test of the extreme, and then you have also a lack of a follow-through, a breach and a failure type test of the extreme. Our soybean market has since drifted back into yellow bars. So in fact, that was on our hawk. Here is our eagle giving us a green bar sell signal, which just tripped. So we go from looking to be buyers to potential sellers in soybeans. And yes, I know I'm loading up on the short side again, and you would think that after getting beat up a couple of times, I would be looking more to be a buyer. We are getting our red bar buy now. These do tend to develop toward the end of a trend. We are seeing our test of the extreme. Of course, we can short the red bar buy. So in other words, instead of buying it, we're going to set up for the failure. But remember, you don't need to trade these signals. These tend to be a little bit weaker. You can always use them as an early warning. There's a very good chance, like 99% chance, that if the market fails here and heads lower, we will get a red bar, a first micro macro cross somewhere through here. So it's not likely that the market will bolt without giving us another signal, but there we go. A failure of that low is definitely saleable. And now we're working on our trend change signal again here in the Falcon. And not much going on there. Come on. And Q. Okay, so we've got a swing point here now. So we can actually adjust the trade a little bit. Wow, come on. You can fail anytime now. Ricardo is asking, what is the bar size on the Raptor? It's the default 8-tick brick. Just the regular. In fact, this particular Raptor is all set up with the defaults. Default size cloud and filter. Oh no, actually I think my filter is at 10 ticks. So filter a little bit faster. We can readjust this trade. That's going to be the new swing. Yes, Ricardo, the Hawk is six tick brick. The Falcon is an 8-tick brick. The Eagle, 12. And the Raptor is 8. Those are the default settings anyway. Here's crude oil flashing yet another signal near the lows. We've got, again, this little bit of sideways action going on here. You could take the signal on the hash mark, or you could enter, I suppose you could effectively bracket this range also, couldn't you? We could throw a sell order in here and a buy order in above there, above this tiny little range, and just let the market bring us in whichever way it wants to go. Chances are that a move to the downside would be favorable because that is with trend. Unfortunately, the thing with trading is you cannot make the markets do anything. All you can do is try to take advantage of things that they are showing you. Here's a trend change signal and a late filter entry signal on the soybean market on our Falcon. So late filter entry, the trend line does not change color. The filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync, and now everything is in sync again. We produce a sell signal. So soybeans perhaps getting ready to head lower. So you need to be prepared to embrace the boredom, and learn to love it when the market is quiet and just wait it out. I still can't get over how strong it is. All right, well, I'm going to scrub that order. I can't believe they're still as strong looking as they are, but they are. It's pretty much the last chance for the NQ here for me. By all rights, this market should be heading lower today, and of course it's not. Come on. Well, crude oil's trying to break out the top end of the trading range. So we've got, here's crude oil on the Falcon. We were looking at that trading range. So they're working on an early trend change signal. Or pardon me, a proper trend change signal. Here's the up, here's the down. We'll see whether they can come back with that up. Craig says he's having a little trouble with his OCO order where it filled and then it canceled. Let's throw an OCO here and see if we can't get it to fill. I've had it happen myself, Craig, and I'm thinking that it may have been because I turned the OCO on and off. Like, I'm going to leave it on this time. We'll leave our stops enabled. Okay, so everything is set. We'll see if we get filled one way or the other here. Yeah, see, it did the same thing. Write Ben about it. And I'm going to give you Ben's email. I'm going to have to write him also, but it's best if he hears from you also. So if you have any support issues, Ben at support@indicatorwarehouse.com is the email that you want to use. And I'm going to be writing him also. I don't know why it does it, but you can see it happened to me also. I'm not sure why. Craig says, mine just ripped to buy and worked and canceled the short, switched to a buy limit and sell limit instead of a buy stop and sell stop. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. That is definitely odd. And yes, there could be a little bit of a bug in there. They did it again. Well, they're not playing nice today. Yeah, you guys, I know. Everybody's telling me about the trend. You should be staying with the trend today, Eric. Yes, you're absolutely right. Ricardo says, sorry, I just made another 20 ticks. Well done, Ricardo. Well done. Maybe the worst thing about being a trade room moderator is that there's always witnesses for when I do stupid things. There's always somebody around to see it. Well, our soybean trade and our crude oil trade are kind of moving sideways at the moment. So not much going on there. Well, I think we're going to tough it out for a few more minutes, but unless something sparks, I may just fold up shop today. It's an odd day. Everything would have suggested that the market should head lower today, and yet it did not. Crude oil still holding its own on our Falcon trade here, but working on a proper trend change signal. So hopefully we'll see crude oil drift a little bit higher, but other than that, we don't have a whole lot going on. Yeah, I'm with you, Jim. Jim says it's an odd week. At least Jim's finishing in the black. He says, but I'm not feeling it. No, it is that kind of week, isn't it? the NQ's pretty much dried up also. Yeah, Jim, I think you're right. Jim says if you look at the daily movement and volatility, it's been small ranges, at least for the YM. Lots of hugging the Raptor moving average line. They've been progressing. The progression's been steady, but yes, the trading has been abysmal. Except for Lance. Lance knocked it out of the park. He says up 1250 for the day, 3500 for the week. Awesome. He says I used to watch just the E-mini. Now I'm able to watch 5 markets. He says my biggest problem now is I don't have enough monitors. He just bought 2 more. Way to go, Lance. And that might be the best way to end the week on that high note. All right, you guys, it doesn't look like there's much going on. If you are going to trade this afternoon, well, I don't know what to tell you. I thought for sure the NQ was heading lower today. But it didn't work out that way. They insisted on plotting higher. So I guess you got to go with that until they show you otherwise. Jim says, forget the monitors, just get a 55-inch LED TV. There you go. You can put all your screens up on that. All right, you guys, I'm going to call it a day, and hope you have a wonderful weekend. We will see you again on Monday morning. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.